One of the lessons that I learned early in life is that some of the most important lessons I'll learn in life will be from those who have gone before me or that are walking a different path, and I don't have to learn from my own headaches and heartaches. That's exactly what I'm doing with Young Jeezy, Jeezy Jenkins' book, Adversity for Sale. So I am a huge student of life, and I'm always looking for new areas, new avenues to learn from. So when I saw Adversity for Sale, you gotta believe I couldn't wait to get the book, dive into it. So I spent a few hours on the plane ride to Alabama and back with Jeezy, the Snowman, Big Snow, Michael Jackson Jeezy, whatever you want to call him, with a few minutes of the time. So here's what I wanted to do here in this video. I wanted to share some things that I picked up from Jeezy, from Lil J, and wanted to share them with you. Now, I do want to encourage you, if you want to be motivated and encouraged, go pick this up. I'm not getting anything for it, but I'm going to share what I learned from the Snowman. The very first thing that I saw, even before reading this, was just on the cover itself, Adversity for Sale, that we all are going to experience adversity. Now, what we decide to do with it, it can be detrimental, or our adversity can be profitable. Now, let's still stick to the cover of the book. You gotta believe. You gotta believe. Let me ask you, do you believe? If not, could it be that any adversity that you go through, this thing called life, it's going to be wasted? So I'm asking you, do you believe in you? So let's jump right in. One of the first things that he says in the chapter that's talked about jumping off the porch, he actually stole something from Mr. Russell. And in here, after some hindsight, Jeezy said, before you take something from someone, just ask, because they just might give it to you and you'll maintain the relationship. But once you take something from someone, that's it. And so as I think about what Jeezy said, if you want something, what if we asked first? If they say no, as is evidenced by the Aladdin Factor book by Mark Victor Hansen, the worst case scenario, we're in the same place we are right now, and that's not so bad. But if they say yes, if they are willing to give you what you ask for, you don't have to steal from them, and the relationship is preserved. Something else that's in here, now I am going to omit the expletives here, but Jeezy was taught something by one of his family members. It says, stay loyal and keep your mouth shut. What would your life, my life, our businesses be like if first we stayed loyal and then we kept our mouths shut? Now, I'm not talking about no snitching. I'm saying mind our own business. If it's none of our business, we should not be in the business. And so as I'm going through here, I love the idea that Jeezy Jenkins can recreate himself. That me, where I am, I can sit and look and say, let me learn from the streets. Let me learn from the dope game, the hustle, so that I don't have to experience these things. Also, what it challenged me with is, if someone can come from this environment, then what's my excuse? Right? There is nothing that says that I have to go through the heartache, the hurtache, or the headache myself. Can I learn from those who are willing to share their story? And if there's adversity for sale, will I buy it, even if it's only 30 bucks, so that it can change my life? These are some big facts that I wrote down here that I made note of. We can't change where we're from, who our families are, or what kind of resources we have to start. But, and that's a big Kardashian size but, we can control how hard we work. I absolutely love that. Right? There are a lot of things that we can't do anything about, but we can control how hard we work. We can control how smart we work. Are you controlling the things that you can control? Are you really taking advantage of the opportunities that you and I are given in business, in life? Jeezy did. So many others in the rap game have. And they have sold the adversity and made a profit. Now, here's one that I want all of my entrepreneurs, everyone that's a dreamer, someone or those of you who believe there's bigger, better, more out there. Here's what he said. And so I made a note of this and I highlighted and I wrote dream big. I wanted to be my own boss, build businesses, make deals, and get into situations where I could make money in my sleep. That's what we call horizontal money. You don't have to be vertical to make that money, but horizontal money is when you're making money in your sleep or when your money is making money. I want it to be free. And ultimately, that's what I believe all of us want. We want freedom. We're seeking something so that we don't have to be in this rat race, so that we can be free to enjoy this one thing that we have called life. Here's a big key. You can't compromise yourself. You've got to know your worth. Jeezy and one of his homeboys at a very young age got upset because a dope fiend shorted him $2. It's only $2. That's what Jeezy was saying. But his friend says, my price is my price. I don't take no shorts. Do you know your worth, one? And do you say, my price is my price? I don't take any shorts when it comes to relationships or my personal value, when it comes to what your non-negotiables are with your family, even in your employment or your career. Do you say, my price is my price? I don't take any shorts. When you stick to your guns and draw that line, some deals will fall apart. And here's where I think Jeezy did an amazing part in this book. If you don't take anything else, this next line. The thing about having principles, they also come with a price. So we hear the sexy side of life. Yes, let's have principles. Let's draw this line in the concrete, as I've said in the past. But when you do that, when you have principles, when you have non-negotiables, there are going to be prices that must be paid. You're going to have to find out, do you really believe what you say? Are you willing to walk the walk after you talk that talk? Do I have the right dream? So when Jeezy went to this work camp instead of juvie or to be put in the system, he quotes Boston George from the movie Blow. Now, if you don't know Blow, that's okay. Talks about cocaine, drug dealing. But here's what I get from this, and here's where I start asking, or I make the statement, this is how the dope game changed my life. Not that I was in the dope game, but I sit here and I listen to these experiences and I glean from and I learn. He says that from Boston George, when he's talking to his homeboy in Blow, he says, you failed because you had the wrong dream. We were in the Youth Challenge program, not because we got caught. We got caught because we had the wrong dream. And so I have a question in there for Neil. The same question that I'm going to ask you as I'm reading this book. And I will be going back through this book numerous times this quarter. I can tell you right now. Do you have the wrong dream? Are you chasing the right thing, the wrong thing? Are you chasing nothing at all? Are you chasing your dream in life, in business, with your health, with relationships, in your familial situation? Or are you chasing a dream that someone else has painted for you? Maybe you bought a dream that someone else sold with your hard-earned income, such as your time, your energy, your effort, your life force, only to find out it's the wrong dream. These are the questions that I believe that we should be asking on a daily. Now, some of the best advice that Jay Jenkins, Jeezy, the Snowman, Big Snow gave us is fail fast, fail often. When you're feeling stressed out, lost, and overwhelmed, you're better off taking a small step in any direction rather than sitting there not doing anything because you're paralyzed by your insecurities, uncertainty, and fear. The truth is, perfection is an impossible goal, But here's where Jeezy and where I believe, where those who came before us, Norman Vincent Peale, W. Clement Stone, Napoleon Hill, here's what they say: the power is in the doing. How much power do you have? How powerful are you? You don't have to answer that question. I just have to see, what are you doing? Look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm powerful, or I'm a weakling. I'm not doing anything. Because as our predecessors have said, the power is in the doing, not simply in the thinking, not in the dreaming, not in the reassessing, but in the doing. If he talks in here about building this brand, and that's a whole nother video, but it says, if I didn't have a strong brand, I was never going to sell. So we're going to talk about branding in another video, but I marked that down because I want to ask you, do you know the power of your brand, and do you know what your brand is? Because everyone has a brand. Entrepreneur, single person, father, child, everyone has a brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. Do you know? Are you bold enough to ask, what are they saying about me when I am not in the room? You either want it or you don't. So you're either going to put yourself out there or you are not. This is especially true for entrepreneurs, for small business owners. How bad do you want it? Eric Thomas talks about wanting it as bad, wanting to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to talk about it, or do you want it bad enough to stay up at night, to miss some engagements, to put work into your dream, especially if it's the right dream? Now, as you'll find out in Jeezy's story, much like any success story, there are going to be times when you have to decide who's in your circle, and you have to call a spade, knowing that some of the people that got you here won't get you there. They're not going to be with you on the entire trip or the entire journey. And here's what Jeezy says, that if there's something I'm trying to do, I'm willing to hear no 10,000 times if that helps me get to yes. So when you're trying to get somewhere, are you willing to hear no, maybe by people, in order to get what you want out of life? Because I want to tell you, as someone who has been to the other side, this is our one shot. Let's do everything we can. Let's risk that chance of failing, of hearing no, so that we can get to yes. And here's in my margins, I wrote down, ideas become things. Jeezy says, if you can hold an idea in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand. What has God put up here and in here for you? What idea, what dream are you holding here, but you don't really know if it's possible? Well, I want to tell you right now that if you can hold it in your hand, in your head, you can hold it in your mind. This is where dreams and ideas become things. This is the power of think and grow rich. This is not new, ladies and gentlemen. It's all just repackaged, repurposed, and now instead of it coming from the boardroom, it's coming from the dope house. Okay, everybody's process is different. Trust yours. Do you know what your process for success, what your process for winning is? Have you experienced enough success to trust yourself and your process? Or is your process one of just mulling things over and never acting? Remember where that power lies. The power is in the doing. Doing good business is about leverage. And then he reiterates one of my favorite lines in the entire book. It's right here. You gotta believe. I'm going to ask you again right now, whatever you're doing, do you believe? And that self-belief is vitally important, but Jeezy goes just a little bit further to remind us sometimes it's not enough for us to believe. There comes a time when you got to make everybody else around you believe too. Maybe that's where you are right now, where you believe and you've experienced a certain level of success. But at some point, nothing makes other people believe like results. And if you really want to make others believe, we've got to deliver. We have to make sure that we come through with our promises, with our words, and deliver on what we said we would deliver. He mentions that perfect is the enemy of good, And then lastly, this is where I want to wrap up my review of Adversity for Sale. You gotta believe. Jeezy makes a statement. He's lost some people in his life, both to like death loss, but then also lost some friendships. And in here, I think that he sums it up and he reminds us of something that you and I, as business owners, as men, women, leaders, that we must come to accept. Now, I did write the word ouch in the margin because this is preparing us for what's to come. If you're winning, they're going to hate. If you're losing, they're going to laugh. And if it's got to be you or them, it's always going to be you. So I just want to prepare you for that. So if you're up, they're going to hate. If you're down, they're going to rejoice. And if it comes down to you or them, you're on the chopping block. So I hope that you will pick up Adversity for Sale by Jeezy Jenkins or any other book. I am going to be doing some more book reviews, letting you all know what I took away from this. And here's what I'll tell you. The dope game changed my life simply by looking at it from a different viewpoint, seeing how someone has gone through adversity, made the most of it, and has removed every excuse that I have in my life for not doing the things that God put me here to do. I hope that you will also accept the challenge. I believe that Jeezy put to all of us. Can you recreate yourself? Can you be bigger? Can you do everything that you're supposed to do? Not make any excuses. Can you believe? And when life gives you adversity, can you create an opportunity to profit from it? If you enjoyed this video, I want you to subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Also, be sure to comment. I want to hear what you think about Jeezy, if you've read the book or if you just like his music. If there's a book that you're interested in me reading and reviewing, please be sure to drop that in the comment section. Also, share this video with those that are Jeezy fans, or if they're not Jeezy fans, if they just want to learn how the dope game can change their life as well. Most importantly, I want to remind you that I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time I see you or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.